Hello, everybody. Sam Tom here. Welcome back. Starting to get my voice back. Still not 100%, but my battery's almost dead, so we're still going to try to hurry through this. Today, we are talking about Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man. We're comparing some Invisible Men movies about the Invisible Man here. And what we're really looking at here is how easily could we fight these invisible men, taking inspiration from Nando V Movies and his mostly nitpicking podcast, where he claims he could take out this invisible man. We're ranking all of these, not really ranking. We're just talking about how easy they'd be to beat. So Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man. Now this is kind of weird. This doesn't happen to me too often. I watched it once, but I was like working on some other stuff, so I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention. And normally, I feel like it would have been enough, but it's an Abbott and Costello movie. There's a lot of sight gags, and because I wasn't watching the screen the whole time, I actually watched it a second time. Took more notes the second time because the first time, like I said, I was distracted. I was doing some other stuff. So, what do we got here? First of all, I gotta say, I think this concept of the Invisible Man works way better as a comedy concept than a horror concept. At least back in the day. This is pretty scary, this one. Not like, monster scary, but like, horrifying in that the psychology of it. I guess more of a thriller than a straight horror. But, this one, not scary. And you could say that for a lot of the old Universal ones, and I probably have. But, even amongst those, not scary. So take that concept, turn it into a comedy. I think it works a lot better as a comedy. Personally, that's my personal opinion. Now I will say, I did not realize when I decided that the thing with these movies is that we're going to be talking about fighting the Invisible Man. This whole movie is about a boxer. The Invisible Man is a boxer, and the whole thing hinges on a boxing match. How perfect for our purposes. I had no idea. I'd seen a lot of the Abbott and Costello movies before. I don't know that I've ever seen this one before. Other than, the first time I watched it. Before I watched it again the second time. Okay, so, first of all, The Invisible Man. Its canon status is weird in terms of this original one because they reference the character from the original one. They got a picture of Claude Rains in the movie. And they reference some events that happened in that movie. But they referred to him as the discoverer of the compound or chemical or whatever is they call it. He didn't discover it. The doctor dude discovered it. He just stole it and used it. It's just one of those cases where people believe the wrong histories, like a Thomas Edison thing, Christopher Columbus type thing. I don't know. I'll let that slide because it doesn't really matter. Sorry, there was a box there and it was bugging me. His teeth. So when he disappears, and again, it's a comedy movie, right? Just some little nitpicks. When he disappears for the first time, his hand goes, and then his head goes, and so it's like there's kind of some different ways that different movies show the invisibility working. In something like Hollow Man, it goes layer by layer, right? So your skin, and then your muscles, and then your arteries and veins, and your skeleton and whatever. Whereas, I don't know if it's ever been done in a movie, but I know it's been talked about almost more like a top down type thing. So in this, it's weird because his hand goes first, so it seems like it's moving from his extremities up, which I feel like it's the opposite of how it would work. I guess it depends on where he injected himself in the arm, but it was the other arm. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. My point though is that his entire head disappears except for his teeth, and you see his teeth, and I'm like, so did the bones go last? And I'm like, but wait a minute, his skull's gone. So why would his teeth still be visible if the rest of his bones are gone? I don't think I'm supposed to put this much thought into it. Just kind of weird. Then, again, little thing, but when Lou, I can never remember which one's which. When Lou is recounting the events that happened to the other people, he says that the Invisible Man asked him how he looked after he became invisible. No, he didn't. At least we didn't see that. I mean, yeah, there was a cut, but it seemed like he fainted before that cut started. So, like, what are you lying for, Lou? The weirder thing in that scene is that the dude, Tommy, before he takes the serum, before he knows he's going to take the serum, before he understands that he's about to be invisible, he's not wearing any underwear. Because we see him take his shirt off and we see him take his pants off, and there's nothing underneath those pants, man. He's going commando, not wearing any underwear. And then, let's see. Oh, no way he kicked you. So, it's a comedy movie. There's an Invisible Man. So some of the comedy is that Tommy, the Invisible Man, is slapping and punching and kicking people that can't see him. So those people think that other people are doing it. But there's a bit of this with Abbott and Costello. But like, Bud is kicked from behind while facing Costello. And he thinks that Costello has done it. And then he gets mad at him for it. And I don't know if it's supposed to be funny that's not believable. Like, it's not, you would not think that Abbott had kicked you, right? His leg's not super long and stretchy and curly and whatever. He's not quick or agile enough to get around you like that. So it's like, you could have positioned them slightly differently and it would have been way more believable. But maybe it was supposed to be intentionally unbelievable as a joke. That didn't come across to me, though. Then we get this great scene of Costello answering questions at the police station. And I wrote down, it's like a student answering questions in class where they're just not at all on the same page as you, taking literal things metaphorically and metaphorical things literally. And, it's Abbott and Costello. It's classic humor. Okay, perfume. So at one point, Costello sprays perfume onto Tommy. Tommy's like, what are you doing? And he's like, if I can't see you, at least I can smell you. Costello is smarter than any person in this movie. That's using your old noggin there, Lou. Way to go. Well done. So what is interesting in this movie is that, like I said, it revolves around a boxing match. And so Costello is supposedly the one that's doing the boxing, right? But really, Tommy is right there next to him. He's blocking the punches. He's doing the punches. Sometimes he's calling out to Costello what move to do to sell it, to make it look believable. Other times, Costello's hiding his face and the Invisible Man is still punching the other dude. So that's really interesting because of the Invisible Mans that I've seen, I haven't seen any others where he's like working with somebody else, because, we're talking about, could we beat up an Invisible Man? Not if we don't know that there's an Invisible Man, right? But if there's no one else there, we're going to figure out, hey, there's an Invisible Man. We're going to get our flour. We're going to get our stuff, right? But if you got someone else and you think you're fighting that guy, then you're going to have a hard time fighting the Invisible Man. Very clever. Very clever. But it doesn't really hold up because the Invisible Man gets knocked out at least twice in this movie. There's one where he gets hit in the head by a revolving door and gets knocked out, and then they have to find him, which is funny. Good gag. Good humor. I like it. I think it works way better for comedy than for horror. So they gotta find an Invisible Man who's knocked out. Great stuff. And then later on, Costello goes to swing a punch, misses the guy that he's fighting, spins around, great slapstick, and accidentally punches the Invisible Man, and knocks him out again. So then he's laying on the ground, and the other guy keeps tripping over him because he doesn't know he's there. Great stuff. Good comedy. I love it. But that means that this Invisible Man is not that hard to fight. One of my Googles just went off. That's creepy when it goes off and you didn't say the thing. So yeah, it gets knocked out by a pedestrian on accident via a revolving door, gets knocked out by someone that the movie very much paints as a incompetent fighter, and like apparently he swung hard enough to knock this guy out. So like you get one lucky punch on this guy, he's out cold. He faints like nothing. So I feel like this guy's pretty easy to take in a fight, despite the fact that he's apparently an accomplished boxer. But even so, he got knocked out by Costello in the ring. So I feel like this one's pretty easy, especially if you can smell him, because he's got perfume on him. What else? Literally got knocked out on accident. Oh, I already talked about that. And then he comes back different than he turns. So I talked about when he turned, his hand went first, and then his skull, and then the teeth, right? But like you didn't see any of the layers. But then when he comes back, you see like the arteries and stuff first, and then the skeleton, and then the rest of him. And I'm just like, that's not what it looked like when he disappeared. Why is that what it looks like? So it's different. It's inconsistent. This movie doesn't care about the details though. It's an Abbott and Costello movie from the 50s. It's fine. I've said it like 6 times. I think this concept, in terms of classics, works way better in comedy than it does in horror. Much more likely to rewatch this film than this film. It's kind of connected. It's kind of in canon, but not really. We do get like the insanity aspect again, but it's not as intense. He just kind of drives some people off the road. He doesn't go out murdering anybody. So, that's good. So, yeah. And I would say, like, as someone that's seen a lot of Abbott and Costello stuff, they tend to do a lot of the same gags in a lot of the different movies, and this one did not feel like I had seen everything before. I mean, some of it, it's just slapstick nonsense, whatever. But, like, it felt different from the others. So that's always nice when you think that you've seen everything and then you see something that you haven't seen before. That's nice. So I quite enjoyed this one. There's a reason I watched it again. It was because I wanted to get a fuller experience, take in all that comedy gold. But now I'm just rambling, so I'm gonna call this here. Like I said, I don't know if we're ranking these, but this one got knocked out multiple times in the movie, which this one did not. And also this one is like a more dangerous type of insane. So I'd rather take this one in a fight than this one, even though this one is actually a fighter, and this one's a scientist who's probably not very good at fighting. Yeah. I think I'm going to take this one. He'd hit harder, because this dude just goes and strangles you. So that's not that hard to beat. So this guy would hit harder, but he seems more prone to being knocked out. So we're going to go with that. I don't know if that means he's number 1 or number 2 at this. I should have thought this through, but I didn't. We're going to go. What's your favorite Abbott and Costello movie? There's some good ones, man. There's some good ones. That's all I got, though. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.